beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of Pain to Power. I'm your host, Jill Ripley, and today we're turning to the topic that started this whole journey for so many of us. A topic that has been my most downloaded, most shared, and most emotionally resonant episode, and that's healing the mother wound. In part one, we explored what the mother wound is, how it forms, and how it echoes through our beliefs, behaviors, and adult relationships. But today, I want to go a little deeper. This episode is about what do we do with that awareness, how we heal, how we forgive, how we break generational patterns, and how we learn to hold two seemingly opposing truths at once. Our mothers were human, and our pain was real. So settle in, beautiful soul. This is going to be a deeply reflective and tender conversation. Let's start at the core of so much emotional turmoil, the archetype of the mother and the pain that it can create. Every one of us is born into a world where the idea of mother already exists before our own mother ever holds us. Across cultures and spiritual traditions, there's this idealized image of the mother, one who's patient, perfectly attuned, always available, selfless, nurturing, wise, emotionally stable, able to meet every need without fail. This image is not human. It's archetypical, a universal symbol, a blueprint for unconditional love. And here's the thing, even if your actual mother didn't resemble this ideal at all, there is still a part of you deep in your psyche that believes that she should have. That archetype is instinctual. It lives in us. It shapes our expectations before we ever learn language. So when your actual mother, a human being with her own wounds, limits, fears, trauma, and emotional inheritance, falls short of that ideal, it creates the pain of disillusionment. That's where the mother wound begins. We expect our mothers to be goddesses, but they are mortals. Mothers bleed, mothers doubt, mothers fear, mothers break, mothers shut down, mothers lose their tempers. Mothers repeat the patterns they swore they never would. Mothers can be overwhelmed, undersupported, exhausted, and often spiritually starving. And yet they are expected to show up with flawless emotional presence. No wonder so many women live with crushing guilt. And no wonder so many children grow into adults carrying deep, unmet needs. This dynamic creates two groups who don't always realize they're wrestling with the same warped paradigm. Adult children still waiting for the mother they never had, and mothers blaming themselves for not being the mother they imagined they should have been. Both are hurting, both are longing, both are haunted by an archetype no human woman can fully live up to. There are two truths that must be held at the same time if we're going to heal this. Truth number one, your mother may have hurt you deeply through emotional neglect, criticism, absence, abandonment, control, inconsistency, lack of attunement, addiction, mental illness, or outright abuse. Your pain is valid. Your grief is real. Your story matters. And truth number two, your mother was a human being shaped by her own wounds. She may have been mothered poorly. She may have been abused. She may have suffered trauma she never processed. She may have carried beliefs that limited her emotional capacity. She may have lived in survival mode, She may never have been shown healthy love. She may have been terrified of inadequacy. She operated with the tools she inherited, not the tools she needed. This truth does not excuse harm, it explains it. And when you can hold both truths at the same time, something inside of you begins to loosen. Healing is not about choosing one truth over the other. Healing is being able to say, my mother hurt me and she was hurting too. That is emotional intelligence and emotional maturity. That is spiritual maturity. That is how healing generational trauma begins. I want to pause and speak directly to those of you who did not grow up with a less than perfect mother, but with a mother who was emotionally dangerous, manipulative, cruel, unstable, or abusive. You do not have to bypass your story. You do not have to pretend it was love. You do not have to reconcile. And you do not owe compassion to someone who repeatedly harmed you. Forgiveness for you might look like distance, closure, acceptance, finality, no contact, or simply, I release the hold that this story has on my body. Some wounds heal best when you stop going back to the source. Your healing is still possible. You're worthy of being healed. And your truth and your pain are not diminished just because your mother was wounded herself. You can acknowledge her humanity without sacrificing your own safety or emotional well being. Now, for those of you who had what many would consider a normal, complicated mother, can you open up to the idea that maybe your mother loved you deeply and still caused emotional pain? Maybe she was critical, anxious, distant, overbearing, overwhelmed, easily triggered, or emotionally unpredictable. Maybe she was physically present but emotionally absent. Maybe she parented the way she was parented. Maybe she didn't know how to tune into a child's emotional world because no one ever tuned into hers. These wounds are often minimized because they don't leave bruises, but they absolutely shape your nervous system, your attachment style, and your sense of self. You are allowed to acknowledge the heartbreak of a mother who tried but didn't know how to give you what you needed. You are allowed to grieve the difference between love and emotional nourishment. Now, let's talk about forgiveness, the kind that heals, not the kind that hurts. Forgiveness is one of those most misunderstood concepts in the healing world. So let's be clear. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is not reconciling. It is not pretending it didn't matter. It's not downplaying your trauma. It's not calling abuse love. It's not dismissing your pain. It's not forcing yourself into gratitude. And it's definitely not telling yourself it wasn't that bad. Forgiveness is releasing the grip the past has on your heart. It's reclaiming your power from old wounds. It's understanding why your mother fell short without denying the impact that it had on you. It's choosing not to carry the inherited pain into the next generation. It's seeing your mother through the lens of wounded humanity, not mythic perfection. Forgiveness is something that happens inside your body, not in conversation with your mother. You don't need her participation. You don't need her approval. You don't need her insight. Your forgiveness, if and when you choose it, is yours alone. One of the most transformative questions you can ask yourself in this process is, what was my mother's emotional inheritance? What did she grow up with? Was she ignored, criticized, abused? silenced, abandoned, burdened too early with adult responsibilities, taught that emotions are weakness, taught that love had to be earned? Was she truly mothered at all? When you explore the emotional world she was raised in, you begin to see she didn't fail because you were unworthy. She failed because she never received what she needed either. That doesn't erase your pain, but it does reframe it. It moves the wound from what's wrong with me to what happened to her and how did that shape what she was capable of giving me. That shift alone makes room for compassion and healing to coexist. Now, I want to talk to the mothers listening. Some of you carry shame, regret, fear, sadness for the ways that you wished you had shown up differently. Maybe you yelled. Maybe you were overwhelmed. Maybe postpartum depression clouded your capacity. Maybe alcohol or other numbing tools stepped in. Maybe survival mode ran the show. Maybe your own unhealed pain spilled over into your parenting. But beautiful soul, hear this. You were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to grow. Every cycle you break now, every awareness that you gain, every apology that you offer, every moment of presence that you create in the present, it all matters. It all heals and it all transforms. There is forgiveness available, not just for your mother, but also for you. Healing the mother wound ultimately becomes an inner child journey. The part of you that is still longing, still hurting, still bracing for rejection or waiting for approval. That is the child part of you. Your healing expands when you begin asking, what did I need most? Where did I feel unseen? What emotions did I have to push down? What love did I crave that never arrived? Then you offer it to yourself. I see you. You never deserved to feel that way. You're safe now, and I will give you what you want that she could not. That is the moment that you step into your power, not by rewriting the past, but by reparenting yourself in the present. Now, I want to add something really important. What happens when both the mother and the child do want to repair the relationship? Because sometimes, after awareness and some healing, there is a genuine desire on one or both sides to try again in a new way. Repair doesn't mean going back to how it was. Repair means creating something new based on honesty, boundaries, and mutual respect. If you're an adult child wanting repair, this might look like starting the conversation gently, not with blame, but with truth. Using language like, this is how things felt for me, instead of you always and you never. Allowing your mother to be human, meaning she might get defensive, she might cry, she might not fully understand right away. Being clear about what you need now, maybe it's more emotional honesty, more listening, fewer dismissive comments, or respect for your boundaries. If you're a mother wanting repair, this might look like listening more than you speak, letting your child tell their story without interrupting, correcting, or explaining it away. Resisting the urge to jump into, but I did my best, and instead saying, I'm sorry this was your experience. You could start by asking what would help you feel safer with me now. Being willing to change certain behaviors, even if you didn't mean to hurt them. For both sides, repair might include taking it slowly instead of trying to fix everything in one conversation. Getting support from a therapist or a coach who understands trauma and family systems. Agreeing on boundaries that protect both of you. Accepting that the relationship may never be perfect, but it can become healthier, more honest, and more nurturing than it ever was before. And it's also okay if repair isn't possible right now. Sometimes one person isn't ready. Sometimes the safest form of repair is internal. You healing your own heart, even if the other person never comes to the table. Repair is a beautiful option, not a requirement. Your healing does not depend on another person suddenly becoming who you always needed them to be. Here are a few tangible practices that you can use after this episode. First, write 2 sentences and complete them honestly. 1, the mother I needed was, and 2, the mother I had was. Let both truths exist on one page without correcting or editing them. Second, identify one core need that you still carry today. Maybe it's safety, encouragement, emotional validation, or consistent presence. Make a conscious choice to give yourself some dose of that today. Third, try this sentence when you're ready. I understand why you were the way you were, and I also honor the pain that it caused me. You can say this out loud, write it in a journal, or speak it in a letter that you may or may not ever send. Fourth, practice reparenting through presence. Put your hand on your heart and say, I'm here. I won't abandon myself. It sounds simple, but repeated over time, it rewires your nervous system. And finally, if your childhood involved abuse, give yourself permission to set boundaries, including distance, without labeling yourself as unforgiving. Your healing does not require ongoing access to the person who hurt you. Healing the mother wound isn't just about our relationship with our mothers. It's about our relationship with ourselves, our children, and our lineage. And the divine feminine within us, it does require honesty without cruelty, compassion without self-betrayal, and truth without shame. Wherever you are in this journey, whether you're grieving, forgiving, remembering, discovering, or reparenting, please know this. You are not broken. You are becoming whole. You are not alone. You are part of a generation doing the brave work of transforming emotional inheritance into emotional freedom. You are worthy of the love you were denied. You are worthy of the love you are learning to give. And you are worthy of the love you offer yourself today. If this episode touched your heart, I hope you'll share it with someone who might need this message. And if you'd like to dive deeper into this kind of healing work, my book, Empowered by the Storm, Releasing the Past and Embracing the Light, is a great next step. You can find it on Amazon or at empoweredbythestorm.com. And if you'd like to explore private coaching, you can reach out through my website at empoweredbythestorm.com. Until next time, stay grounded, stay loving, and stay empowered.